Hello and welcome to episode 508 of Contending at the Water Cooler. I'm your host, Clarence Moy, and I am joined by the other two M's. So M's, let's go around the cooler and tell the listeners who you are and where they can find you on the internet. Megan, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Megan McLaughlin. You can find me on the internet everywhere else at Hey Dude Bang.
Joey.
Hi, I'm Joey Moser. You can find me on Twitter at JoeyMoser83.
And again, I'm Clarence Moy. You can find me on Twitter at Clarence Moy. Happy June. Happy Pride.
Yay.
Yeah. I always think of the song June is busting out all over.
Do you know the one where oh my god, what is her name? Leslie Uggams? Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh no, god, if you want to get like how thought you were gay. There is a performance from I'm gonna find the year right now. Where she's in like an outdoor pavilion and she is singing June is busting out all over. It is from, I think she was singing it in DC in like 2012 or something. It might be earlier than that. But apparently, if you listen to it, it looks like she doesn't know the words because she's like, June is busting out all over. Like she doesn't know it. And then she went on some like talk show where she revealed what happened was it had just rained, like, you know, when the festival started. And when right before the song started, the cameraman who had like a camera on his shoulder slipped and fell. And then it was live, and she was trying not to laugh, and all the words just went out of her brain.
Oh, wow.
It is so fucking funny. So I see some straight people sharing June is busting out all over, but then I see deep cut faggotry sharing the Leslie Uggams version, not knowing the words.
Are you calling me straight?
Are you not saying you're
I'm just laughing. It feels insulting during Pride Month.
Well, okay.
All right. What an odd way to begin, but it's okay. It's okay. All right. Well, it's been a little bit since we've recorded. So what I thought we'd do is start briefly with sort of what have you guys been up to? What have you been watching? What have you been reading? What have you been listening to over the past couple of weeks? And then, of course, we will launch into our main topic, which is a review of HBO and Jesse Armstrong's latest film, Mountainhead, and talk about its Emmy chances. Notoriously, TV movies aren't so... the things that release like on the last day of the eligibility window, as this did. I guess it did sneak on Friday night, the 30th. But when it releases at the end of the window, it takes a while for, it's always not as successful. So let's talk about whether or not this breaks into anything other than outstanding TV movie. And then, of course, we'll wrap with the flash forward to the media we're most anticipating in the upcoming week. So as I said very quickly, Joey, what have you been watching, reading, listening to over the past 2 weeks?
I feel like I have not seen a movie in a theater like in 2 weeks. I think the last movie I saw in theaters was Thunderbolts. And if that's the last movie that I see in theaters before I die,
don't die.
I'm going to kill myself.
Can I put that at the top of your obituary, though, is last movie, Thunderbolts?
That would be the most hateful, homophobic thing anyone could ever do to me.
During Pride Month.
During Pride Month. No, I've been just catching up on television. I've done a lot of like rewatches. I have my review is late, but I'm almost done with Prime's The Other Sister, The Other Bowling Girl, the Better Sister with Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks, which in throes of the same 3 minutes, I was like, oh, I'm finding this really interesting. And then like 30 seconds later, I was like, why are they doing this? So there's that. I caught up with a rewatch of Somebody Somewhere. I did a rewatch of, not a hardcore rewatch of Nobody Wants This, but I got into that. Caught up with some TV movies, coincidentally, the subject that we're talking about. And then I am currently reading, I guess this is a preview of the flash forward. I am reading The Guncle by Stephen Rowley, which is kind of like Raising Helen, where like a guy's college friend dies and she has 2 kids, and her husband is having some substance abuse problem, so he takes their 2 kids to Palm Springs. That probably would not happen in this political climate. It'd be like rumor, but that's what I'm doing. Not a whole hell of a lot.
Very good. Megan, what about you?
Well, a couple weeks ago, I went to see Friendship, the Tim Robinson movie.
Oh, right. One of your most anticipated.
It was all that I imagined it would be. It's very strange and wonderful. And at many points during the film, I was like, I could hear myself laughing and being the only one laughing in the movie, even though there were so many people. Like, it was a packed theater. Which
oh,
was
really? Ooh,
oh, my
great.
gosh. It was a packed theater. It was great. Yeah, it was really fun to experience that. And I just love Tim Robinson. So if you love Tim Robinson, you'll love Friendship. I've been watching Beast Games on Prime.
Oh yeah, I've been watching that
Prime,
too.
which has one of the most like awkward endings, which I'm like can't wait to talk to Joey. Joey, we should do a Beast Games like recap podcast, you and I, or something.
The strength, but
yeah,
Megan and I might be talking to Mr. Beast.
Yes.
Oh,
Jimmy Donaldson.
Yeah, he's from
Jimbo.
He's from Greenville, which is near where
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I've got lots of questions for him.
Yeah, I do too.
But I've also
what a weird fucking show.
Have you guys finished The Rehearsal? Because I think its second season is so much. I think it's even better than the first, and I think Nathan Fielder is just a genius. Talk about like all these weird. I guess my list has lots of weird, funny men. I guess other than Mr. Beast, I don't think he's nice. Sorry, Jimmy, but
do you think that I am going to watch a show about a guy finding a loophole into being a pilot on a plane?
But you know he has training, right?
I don't care.
It. Oh my God, you need to watch it. You need to shut the fuck up and watch it.
I'm going to stab you.
It is so incredible. I'm so impressed with Nathan Fielder. Like so impressed with him. So you need to see it. I think everybody should watch it. I think it's funny, it's weird, it's like captivating. It has something to say. I love it. I just think it's great. I also watched the Judd Lifetime docuseries a couple weeks ago, which is really good, really devastating. But like completely different from The Rehearsal, but also very good. I know I'm like, this is great, and this is devastating, but it's like very well done. And I've been listening to a lot of Haim from their music is featured in Nobody Wants This. But I've been listening to a lot of like Haim and all kinds of, because they have a new album that's coming out, so I'm really excited for that. And that is about it, other than trying to prepare for all these interviews.
Our friend Jalal is a huge fan of Haim, and
I did not know that.
Yes, but he said that people don't like their new music for whatever reason.
I mean, their first album was just incredible because I was listening to it nonstop. But you gotta branch out and do different things. They're doing different things. I respect them, and I'm excited for their new album.
Is it Haim or is it Haim?
I don't know. I've seen it different things.
Yeah.
Haim,
Oh
no. Okay. Very good. That actually reminds me talking about Nathan Fielder's show, The Rehearsal, and the flight issues that you have, Joey, reminds me of a passing thought that you left with me when you gave me that late night call on Saturday night, where you told me that if I go down in the plane going to Telluride, I'm going to call you and curse you out.
Wow.
I've always said that if I'm in a plane that starts to plummet, the first thing I'm going to do is make a 3-way phone call and all I'm going to say is, I told you so.
Wait, am I in this too?
Yes.
Oh, what if I'm with you on the plane? That's a waste of money.
Well, I'll scream it into your face.
Yeah.
God, you're
that-
so morbid. Jesus.
Yes.
I've
So
been
that,
like this for years.
don't
So,
speak it into existence. It'll be like
I actually
love
think
and-
it's the opposite. I think I have to speak my anxieties into existence because that is what's keeping the plane up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then. Well, it'll be like the beginning of Love Actually, where Hugh Grant has that voiceover that says, "Do you think that the last phone call those people on the plane on 9/11, do you think the last thing they talked about was how much they hated each other? No, they talked about love." And I'm like, not Joey.
Not Joey. It's like, I'm taking everybody down with me. I'm gonna haunt you, bitch.
You know what will actually happen is something will happen with the plane. I'll make a giant scene 30,000 feet in the air, and then the plane will level itself out,
Yes.
and then somehow everyone in the plane will vote to eject me.
No, they will
God,
all
that's-
videotape you. And
That's such a movie that I want to see right now.
Yes. And then you will go viral and you will say www.thecontending.com.
There's some great stuff coming up.
So, what have I watched for the past 2 weeks? Well, I did see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, which I liked. I did a review of it up on the site, but it was the first 45 minutes is kind of rough, but the last 2 hours is just Tom Cruise giving it all. So, and then I immersed myself in the Lilo and Stitch culture, and that's about 3 hours of my life that I will not get back.
I didn't know there was a Lilo and Stitch culture.
Well, I've never seen the original cartoon. It's probably one of the only Disney films that I haven't seen. So I saw that. It was fine. I don't understand the cult-like devotion for it, but I didn't grow up with it, so that's fine. And then we saw the live-action film, which was weird. But people love it, and it's going to make $1 billion. So all you people that say Disney shouldn't make live-action movies again, don't go pay to see these things because they're not learning that lesson.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But so that's that. I finished today. I finished Game of Thrones, the first book in the series, which I loved. And what else have I watched? Well, I've been catching up on, and again, I'm like Joey, this is kind of a spoiler for the flash forward. I've been catching up on Emmy contending television, and one of the shows that I'm watching right now with my wife is Netflix's The Perfect Couple, which is a limited series starring Nicole Kidman and Liev Schreiber and others. Joey and I have wildly different opinions on it, but that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
What's Joey's
It's a show. I think it's actually like so bad it's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, he finds it as guilty pleasure, and I just think it's awful.
It's not great.
No.
Well,
I wouldn't say it's even good. Clarence told me yesterday, he's like, do you realize how long it took me to realize that she was doing a British accent, not an Australian accent? Talking about Nicole Kidman. So
it's weird. It's a weird. Anyway, there's a lot that doesn't make sense in this show, but a lot of people like it. So I'm in the minority, except for critics. But Joe and Jane TV watcher. What do you call them? Anyway,
Joey and Betty Fuckface. Get their names.
Yes. Oh my God.
Honor their names. Come on.
Joey and Betty Fuckface. They seem to like it.
I still want to see what they look like.
Is there a gas leak in all of our houses?
I've posted pictures of what I think Joey and Betty.
I think we need to ask AI, ChatGPT, what Joey and Betty Fuckface look like.
Yes, I'd love that. Yes, I love that idea.
And Megan, you watched Survivor, right?
I did not watch this season.
Okay, all right. Well, I finished Survivor. I was underwhelmed by the ending.
That's kind of how I felt the last couple seasons. So they need to change up their casting. I can't take the super fans anymore.
Well, it's not going to get any better, I think. In fact, there's a huge online discourse about the cast that has been announced for season 50, which will air next spring. But there's, it's mostly made up of people post, what they call the new era of Survivor, the era that you probably don't like, and very few sort of legacy people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter to me about that. It's more within the last 5 years that the cast, I feel like, has gotten really nutty, and it's just kind of overwhelming.
Right. Yeah, I think that's about it. So shall we jump to our review of Mountainhead?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Mountainhead, written and directed by Jesse Armstrong, who, of course, won several Emmys for his brilliant work in Succession, returns with Mountainhead, which stars Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman, Cory Michael Smith, and Ramy Youssef as like what I call four tech bros, who are, three of them are billionaires. One of them is just a 500 millionaire.
Loser.
Yeah, exactly. Who go to Mountainhead, which is a house isolated in the mountains of somewhere. I don't think they actually
it's
say Utah. Okay. No, well, that makes sense. Because that's where all the real tech bros go. And they go there for a mountain retreat. And one of them, the character played by Cory Michael Smith, I think his name is Ven. Ven. He has unleashed a very, very, very invasive form of AI, which has caused both political and economic chaos across the world. And so they're all just kind of reacting to that through this show. And essentially, their motto is you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And those eggs happen to be, Paraguay or, the mayor of France or lots of things. So that's what Mountainhead is about. None of us have talked about it. So Joey, you have most recently watched it. What did you think of Mountainhead?
I don't want to say like I liked it, but I mean, I thought it was entertaining in like if doom scrolling was an hour and 40 minutes. I thought that I was gonna dislike it more, and I don't even know why, but I do. I thought it was sort of a reverse eat the rich. It's the rich literally not eating food and letting all of us kill us, letting all of us die. And the thing that sort of stuck out to me the most is that throughout the movie, especially more towards the beginning, they're talking about it's a giant dick measuring contest. And they keep saying, we're the smartest people in the world. We're the smartest people in the world. We're the smartest people in the world. I was like, no, you are the richest people in the world. And it's really terrifying to think that the people who have enormous wealth, that they just equate that. And it's sort of like, I don't know, I was a little fascinated about how they are so out of touch with so many things that even the way they talk, it's sort of like they're inventing their own language to sort of like talk to each other. And I think, it's not necessarily groundbreaking. Like, oh my God, the crazy wealthy might be doing something to their brain. But I thought the acting was good. I thought that when it gets to the sort of like mid to 2/3 of the way through, where it takes like a dramatic turn into what they are doing, I'm not sure if that necessarily works, especially the intended victim of it. It's a little icky considering like the identity of who he is. But it's sort of like, it's not the rich get richer, and the rich they're so rich that they're so bored and they have to sort of create problems within the house in order to do something. They don't know how to like be real people. So I don't know. I find it sort of fascinating, but also a little rightfully scary, I guess. But I do think that I found myself laughing at certain stuff, and it reminded me of how much, like, how we said before, Succession is the funniest drama on TV. So that felt kind of right. So I'm curious to what you guys think.
Megan.
I agree with a lot of things you said. I was a little underwhelmed by it. I think Succession had that language where everything was in a metaphor. You know what I'm talking about? Where
Mhm.
they would speak in this weird code of things, like where you didn't actually know what they were doing, but you knew it through like the metaphors that they
Oh
used.
yeah.
And I feel like that was this like 100 times, like it was just so much of that. And it was kind of like, okay, I get it. Like I get what you're saying, but I feel like the characters weren't different enough to be interesting to me. Like they were all kind of the same. Ramy Youssef was probably the most different, but like the other three were pretty mostly interchangeable to me. Whereas I feel like with Succession, there were so many different characters that did want the same thing, but were a little bit different. I feel like this could have been maybe an hour and a half. I feel like it was a little too long. I do like what happens in the middle. I was kind of like, oh, is that what this is going to be? Because
Right.
I'm interested in it. But and I also felt like it was like icky. And but then it kind of doesn't, it kind of backs off, which I think it would have been interesting had it done that. I don't know.
Had they gone through with it?
Yeah, and I was just kind of left thinking like I love that I wrote down you said if doom scrolling was an hour and 40 minutes, which I do feel like that is a great description of this. And I did feel like, oh God, is this where we're headed? Like so many times, how close is this to reality? And but it wasn't necessarily fun to spend time with them the way it would be if it were like if it were Kendall and if it were that group, if that would be more fun to spend in a house with like this. But these three were just kind of, I don't know. I know you also talk about how you think Steve Carell's kind of a strange, dramatic actor. And I felt that way at times here where like he was kind of funny, but kind of weird. And maybe that was just the character, but like he would just like kind of explode with anger and everybody looked at him weird. And I'm like, is this common for him? Or is this, you never really know what was normal. And I didn't buy that they were friends. It was really weird. It was okay. Like it was fun to watch, but it's not something that I'll remember.
I do think I agree with you both on almost everything that you said. I think my tolerance for it was a little bit lower because it is so close to reality, right? So the whole thing about this AI and fake news and fake stories and misinformation just destroying people and destroying the economy and destroying politics is so close to reality and so close to my own. Like I feel like misinformation is kind of the nuclear war for our generation. Whereas, like in the 80s and 70s, people used to just be terrified of nuclear war. Not that we aren't now, but I think that there is a kind of common understanding amongst the nuclear owning nations of this world that, pushing that button would, kind of be the end. And I think, hopefully we won't go there, but nobody seems to feel that way about misinformation. And that is what keeps me up at night. And that, creating this line of fake news that so damages the real news that people never know what to trust and stop trusting news altogether. And then all of a sudden you just get a hugely misinformed population. Anyway, none of that is kind of entertaining to me. And I understand that this is a satire, but I just don't find it funny.
Yeah.
And Jesse Armstrong is really great at writing terrible people.
Yeah.
But what the difference between this, Mountainhead, and Succession was that the characters of Succession had some sort of pathos where you could balance their evil deeds and you could justify them by saying, not justify them, but the bad things that they do, you could kind of understand why they do that because they were lonely, they were needing that fatherly love and attention. I mean, you understood these people long enough to understand why they do the things that they do. These guys, an hour and a half is not long enough for this material. I didn't understand them at all. I didn't like them. Yeah. And I think it's the worst of what we assume that the Zuckerbergs and Musks of the world are. And I don't want to spend an hour and 45 minutes with the Zuckerbergs and the Musks of the world.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I was like, Yeah, I don't like any of them. I don't understand necessarily what the relationship is. And yeah, I agree with what you said.
Now, I do want to, Joey, you're saying this is like doom scrolling the movie is 100% spot on. Another thing that you said that I thought was really spot on was I thought it was very interesting the way that Jesse Armstrong creates a almost new language for these guys. It's like an online language that comes from like Gen Alpha that they're picking up to make them feel younger. Like everything is bro and dude, and it's all tech speak, and it's all like streaming language, and it is a new language. It is not the language of Succession. And I think in that way, it's kind of brilliant what he does here. But, something, I mean, I think he wanted to go really far, and I think it ends up being less biting than it intended. There was one really funny conversation where they kind of debate whether or not they want to have a coup d'etat in the United States. And I was like, you guys are total idiots. Like,
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I can press a button and I can turn off all the, we cut off their communications and turn off the material, the weapons of war just by, flipping a switch and all that stuff. I'm like, you guys are, no.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just that I thought that there are small moments throughout it that I thought were really funny in terms of showing or undercutting that kind of alpha mentality. Like when they can't figure out like who turned off the water, like none of the sinks are working, and then they impose this thought process. It was like, well, of course, I mean, China, they did this, and this, and they did that. And then immediately leads into a conversation. I don't like all the windows. If like Russia comes and blows us up, I don't want any shrapnel to get. And so they go downstairs into the basement. And it's just sort of this like self-imposed importance because what they do is destroying the world. And it is sort of really disturbing how destroying the world is they're so desensitized to it. Like they see something happening, like, a push alert from a news channel, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like the fact that the push notification is informing the world, therefore that everyone thinks that they did something when it could be the worst, most horrible bullshit that has ever happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree. I don't like these people. I laughed a bunch through it, but I think I was just thinking the whole time, this is Jesse Armstrong writing. He knows how to like take people down, but I don't know. Gross. Don't like them.
I also wonder, he started writing the script in January of this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It took him 6 months to produce this film. Given the topic, given the subject matter, given the importance of that, I think it might have warranted a little bit longer I think, the fact that he probably wrote that in 2 months is really amazing because he's a great writer, but maybe a little longer, maybe don't dick out on the end, because I feel like the end is just not nearly as sharp as it needed to be.
I agree. I felt like they were going someplace, and then I was like, okay, you're backed off, and then acted like everything was okay. And it is such a heightened story. Like, these are heightened characters, heightened versions of, I mean, I don't think it's that much heightened, but like, I do think, people like this exist, but it's, a little bit bigger. And I felt like, okay, go big then, if this is a satire. And then they just back off completely. And I was like, well, what was that for? And I don't quite understand it. I don't know. I lost interest shortly after that scene. And whenever I was just kind of like, oh, really? Then like, I really don't care about this anymore.
But do you think there's something about them, like these guys, because, they have an idea and it turns into something else and they can develop something? I thought they couldn't go. I mean, I guess we can talk about spoilers, but I mean, I feel like they don't go through with killing somebody to a certain degree is because they don't know how to do anything themselves. And so, like, if like they can't even do this, like they talking about like alpha male thing, they can't tap into some like Neanderthal, mentality and capitalize on their own plans that they think that they can do anything for, and so therefore they suck. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that's part of the point of the satire is that we are. I think Jesse Armstrong is saying that we are totally screwed if the captains of our destiny are these tech pros, these AI guys who can't even kill somebody. Like, I mean, I know that sounds horrible, but the ways that they conceive of doing that, with the bowling ball to the chest while they're trying to suffocate someone, and then all of a sudden,
breathable pillow,
locking someone in a sauna and not turning it on, but somehow pouring gasoline under the door and using a mop to kind of push it in there and then light it on fire. Like, where are you going with that? Like, you're on a mountain. There's a much better way to do it. I don't. Not that I'm some evil mastermind genius, but I think that is part of the satire, right? That they can't really do anything that is the sort of the norm.
But even like the reaction to it was just like, oh well, we tried. The next morning, that was weird. I thought, but I mean, maybe that was supposed to be I don't know. Nothing rang true to me, I guess, in some way. Like, even though, I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire or a millionaire, but Succession all rang true to me because I think they got at the human spirit of these people. Whereas this one, these were just like, we didn't really get to below the surface of any of these characters, I think.
1,000%. Great satire always is based in truth. And there is truth to the concern over the AI crisis, but there is not truth in the way that these people operate as human beings.
Yeah.
I do want to point out that Megan may not be a billionaire, but she has tried to push me down over a balcony before.
Wait, when did I do that?
I'm sure it's happened. I do.
Was it post Muppets conversation?
No, I was driving my car. She probably could have tampered with my brake line, though.
Well, everyone would understand that.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my God.
I do want to ask you guys something about the casting.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered if maybe, I know this is completely different series versus a movie. I did think the whole time that maybe the casting would have been better if everybody was more on the level of like a Cory Michael Smith, who has definitely been in things and people have seen him and stuff, but he's much more of a unknown talent than the other three. So I kind of wish that maybe the casting wasn't as big.
Yeah, I could see that because I do think it was distracting. Steve Carell is distracting.
But like, but I didn't think Jason Schwartzman was distracting. I thought he embodied that sort of nervous sort of energy that he's not as good as everybody else. I think he kind of embodies that really well.
The whole time I was watching it, I was like, oh, I really want to see the Phoenician scheme.
Said no one.
Yeah, really? You were thinking that? Ramy Youssef fits into this world well, though, I think. Like, I thought he was really good. And like, I would have liked to have known more about the conflict, like the podcast or whatever that Venn was on. What was it? I can't remember what he said.
Where he said he was the owner or the creator.
Founder of something.
Yeah, the founder.
Yeah.
Yes, I liked all the individual. I'll say I like 3 out of the 4 individual performances. Casting Ramy Youssef and then not acknowledging his nationality or the fact that he is, a non-white man in the midst of these white guys. I think is not. I don't want to say problematic, but it doesn't sit well. Like you're just ignoring this one thing that is very different about this guy. And then to your point, that I forgot who said it, but maybe you, Joey, where the story goes in that sort of middle to third act development, is really concerning, considering they don't even acknowledge the fact that the differences in the characters. I really liked Cory Michael Smith. I thought he played that sort of intelligent goofball moron kind of mixture really well.
Yeah.
I would love to find out if he based that character on someone. I think Steve Carell for me just stands out in not a good way.
Yeah, and why is that? Because he's a great actor, I think. And but I think it's because it's almost like we're used to, because he was doing like Michael Scott-isms almost at certain points, like the way he talks. But I think it's weird. His voice, you always talk about, Joey, his voice kind of it goes up and down and stuff. And it sounds goofy sometimes, maybe. But I mean, that kind of could work for this character, but for some reason it just didn't for me.
Yeah. To me, I think it's an ill fit considering the backstory that we have on this character. The only thing that we know about this character is that he has cancer and is inoperable cancer, and he is going to die. And so what he wants is for this AI to succeed so that he can become transhuman or what is it?
Yeah, I think it's transhuman, I think.
Yeah. So that he can essentially upload his
in
consciousness in the computer. Yeah.
But did his friend also say in the beginning he has like 15 years, or was that 15 years before?
That was like best case scenario, I think.
Yeah, okay. It went 5, 10, 15.
Okay. Which also is interesting because then it shows that these are the richest people in the world, and even they can't be. Some things can't. They aren't immortal.
Yeah. Well, we know that was with.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So, what do we think? So this dropped on May 30th, the evening of May 30th. Emmy window closed on the 31st. Jesse Armstrong's name obviously carries a lot of cachet with the Television Academy, thanks to Succession. Mm-hmm. It's guaranteed a nomination for TV movie, I would say. Probably wins, just because name another TV movie that came out this year.
Bridget Jones.
Bridget Jones. The Gorge.
I think it's definitely in it. I think it's like Bridget Jones, Mountainhead. Disney's really pushing Out of My Mind, and I think Another Simple Favor can get in, even though people really did not like the movie. Or even something The Supremes at Earl's All You Can Eat. I think I went and I looked at I was just like, okay, well, how do TV movies who come out at the very end of the, voting window, how do they fare? And I was just like, oh, they're a little bit more than I expected. Like Mountainhead will probably get in. Great Lillian Hall came out literally the same day as this, so it did not get in last year. Right. I think Reality got in, I think. Maybe I'm making that up. The movie with Sydney Sweeney.
I don't think.
I think that was a surprise. Yeah. I think Oslo got in. So it's sort of like hit or miss. So I think maybe they're kind of swinging for the fences and banking on Jesse Armstrong. I was curious about writing, and I should have had it up, but so TV movies don't really get in for the writing category very often anymore. I think last year, 2 years ago, 3 of the 5 or 6, half of it was sort of like almost all or nothing every couple of years. So like the year that Fire Island was in, there were 2 other TV movies in the writing category, and then it was another so many years, and then 3 of them were in again. So I would not be surprised if this was a lone writing nominee for a TV movie.
I could see it getting those 2 nominations, but that's it. I personally don't think anybody from the cast gets in, even though it's not the biggest limited series year. But I don't think anybody gets an acting nomination.
Yeah, I agree.
Would agree.
I was looking up what other movies that have been nominated before, or if my question is, how does Black Mirror play into the TV movie category? Does that
It's-
still go for TV movie, or is
No,
that
it's limited.
Limited series.
It's limited series. Okay, just making sure because I know, like looking back, I couldn't remember.
Did that weird year where they were like they made them
Yeah.
submit. Yeah.
Yeah. And if there were a Dolly Parton movie, that would get in for sure, I feel like. But then I also wonder about some of these like Lifetime movies or feel good movies that I just talked to Taye Diggs and Megan Good from Terry McMillan Presents Forever, and which is, a Lifetime movie that has good acting in it, and it's a romance, and it goes places that you don't think about. And I just wonder, like, are some of these, like, I never know who's watching what in the TV movie category. I don't know if you guys feel that way too. Like when Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square shows up and wins, like, oh, okay. Like, it's just kind of weird sometimes what pops up in this category.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think they don't tend to watch these things, and I think they just go through there and check, what they just, I don't know.
They've heard of. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that helps Mountainhead, even if they don't see it. They know that Jesse
I
Armstrong's
definitely think
behind
it's in. Yeah, because like looking at like, there's always an HBO movie like Behind the Candelabra, The Normal Hearts, Bessie, won one year, and that was also Hello Ladies, the movie. I love that one. Nightingale, remember we all love that one too. Confirmation. There's like, so it's definitely in. But it's just really interesting to see if it went. I would go with Bridget Jones at this point because I think there's a lot of love for that film. And yeah.
Remember like 3 years ago, HBO had The Survivor, a Barry Levinson drama about the Holocaust, about a real life survivor of a Nazi concentration camp where he boxed fellow inmates in order to live. And then they gave TV movie to Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
That is quite insane. But they did get Oslo in last year, and I think that had it came out at a similar time, maybe a month earlier, but it had a much lower pedigree. Like nobody was talking about it.
No, it's weird. Like last year, what won last? It was Quiz Lady won last year.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And then that Pop Chart movie.
What?
Unfrosted. Unfrosted.
Unfrosted. That's right.
That Weird Al Yankovic movie one. Maybe they're just on. Maybe like a feel good movies. The
maybe it is Bridget Jones.
Yeah.
Quiz Lady, Weird Al, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Dolly Parton's Christmas in the Square. Those are the last 4 winners.
They should probably discontinue this category.
No, I love how chaotic it is. I think it's funny that there are some people who I understand the confusion with like there's streaming and so stuff gets on Netflix, but also like what's the point? But it's also just like it's I don't know. I think it's part of me is just like anytime I hear somebody complain about that, like, well, how do you know what's a TV movie and how do you know what's theatrical? And I was a quick Google search. It's where they want to put it, and I don't I don't get it. That's all I have to do. So let's see. Bridget Jones, Mountainhead. I think Rebel Ridge gets in.
Yeah, I think Rebel Ridge gets in too.
Out of My Mind gets in. It's a feel good Disney Plus movie. I saw some people saying, "Am I okay?" That Dakota Johnson, where she might be a lesbian or something.
I love that description. She might be a lesbian or something.
I'm going to say maybe they should do the Viola Davis Action President movie. I'm just saying.
Oh.
G20. So stupid.
Well, I do think Mountainhead gets in. The thing that would sort of give me pause, I would, about whether or not it gets in for screenplay is if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, the user ratings are toxic.
Oh, yeah.
And the Google ratings are like, it's got like a 45% on Google and a a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, wait, which one?
Mountainhead.
Really?
Yeah.
I want them to just stop doing audience scores across the board.
I agree.
How dare we let the people have their say?
Well, it's so easily manipulated.
Yeah, it's that's really what I mean. It's just like it feels so pointless almost. It's just like, oh, if it's if it's woke, it's gonna get.
If it's woke, if it's a Star Wars project starring a black female, it is, or an Asian female, it is going to be decimated.
This is so sad because it's so true.
But the thing that's ironic is that this cast is predominantly all white men, but they're talking about, stuff that
it's got big words and they talk too fast. Sorry. I don't mean to insult anyone. I'm just kidding.
I do. It's Pride Month. I can do what I want. Murder.
Okay. All right. So anything else on Mountainhead?
No.
All right.
No.
Let's close our podcast with a flash forward to the media that we are most anticipating in the upcoming week. And we kind of already blew our load on this one, but Megan, you didn't. So why don't you go first?
My
Isn't that true?
Yes, we did blow our load on all of it.
No, but the female never goes first.
That's true. My way of coping with my de-stressing is watching TLC, and Poly Family is my new favorite show. It comes after 1,000 Pound Sisters on Tuesdays, and it's a crazy show about a poly family. And I think also that show Virgins starts this week, where it's a bunch of virgins trying to lose their virginity on TLC. Which
oh my God.
I know.
Christ.
Okay, but this is like my downtime when I'm not like watching really like.
I'm not judging you. I'm just judging the programs.
When I'm not watching like really amazing television, I just want to watch crap. But it's like good crap because I enjoy it. And then I'm rereading a book by Curtis Sittenfeld called Romantic Comedy that I really love, and it just brings me joy. So I've been listening to that when I'm walking the dog. And that's about it. And just trying to we got some really good interviews coming out. So stay tuned for that. And that's about it.
I think I will go next. I have a screening of How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version, on Wednesday. So that'll be the movie I see this week. On TV, we're going to wrap The Perfect Couple and probably start The Pit finally. And then books, I'm going to start A Clash of Kings, which is the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series. Also on TV, I'm probably going to rewatch the first season of Game of Thrones after I read the book, just to nerd out. And listening wise, I am newly embracing all of the. You guys are ready to groan. I am newly embracing the opportunity to listen to Taylor Swift's original albums. Now that she owns she owns them again.
Have you been avoiding it? Were you like, I can't? I've got to abstain.
Some of them I had not heard. I mean, I heard songs from them, but I've never listened to the entire album until they were redone. And then I went back and, started listening to the original versions. Yes. So I've never heard some of the longer albums.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that we get some screeners for, like, at the end of June, there is like this onslaught of television, of major television that's coming out. And I'm like, there's season 4 of The Bear that's going to be coming out. There's the season 3 of Squid Game. There's The Gilded Age. There's one more thing that I'm forgetting. But I'm hoping for screeners of some of that. I've already seen one of those. But I'm hoping for screeners for the other 2 this week. All right, Joey.
I was like trying to figure out how to balance everything, doing interviews wise. I have a screener to a movie. Said screener. This is not something that it will be in any award show anytime soon, but George Romero's daughter Tina directed a horror comedy called Queens of the Dead, and I think it just has a bunch of drag queens and zombies, which I'm excited about. I'm doing some coverage for some Tribeca shorts this week. And Frank and I will be doing a Tony Awards podcast predictions because the Tony Awards are on Sunday, the 8th. And so we're recording that tomorrow. And I think Next Best Picture is Dan Bayer is joining us. And then something that I hope I can fit into my schedule. Oh, I'm seeing Jessica Kirson. Do you guys know that comic? She's, I don't know, she does a lot of like crowd work stuff. I'm seeing her on Friday. She's canceled twice in Columbus, so I'm finally excited to see her. And then we are seeing a tour of the national tour of Kimberly Akimbo is in town on Saturday. But the thing I'm really looking forward to is that the National Theater Live is doing screenings for Streetcar Named Desire with...
Not the Gillian Anderson one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gillian Anderson, Ben Foster, and Vanessa Kirby, which I don't think I've never seen the whole thing. And it's playing twice here. It's playing on Thursday the 5th. I could probably go to that. And then Sunday the 8th. But it's just, you know, who doesn't want to see Gillian Anderson shed her British accent? Southern Belle. As Blanche Dubois.
I can't find the links to that. Send it to me.
I forgot to mention that last week I was supposed to meet one of the most iconic reality TV stars of all time, but she canceled. I don't think I told either one of you this. New York from Flavor of Love was coming to town. I bought the meet and greet, and she canceled at the last second, and I am devastated because I love her, and I'm hoping she comes back. But that was my big disappointment from last weekend.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Clarence,
Okay.
It looks like on the national.
Rally.
Well, it says Showtime's coming soon.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
I guess I'll just stay home and watch on great performances. I'll watch Next to Normal. Yeah. Which, by the way, Joey and or Megan, but I doubt you'll care as much, Megan. It's looking like my 50th birthday celebration will be in New York around Christmas time.
This Christmas?
Yes.
Oh, duh,
and
of course.
we are going to see the Lincoln Center production of Ragtime.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh.
And we're going to see Lea Michele star in Chess.
Oh.
I'm so excited.
That's so cool.
She can play chess because she doesn't have to read.
All right.
I wish Sunset was still playing for you to see it.
No, that's okay. It's fine. I'll live. All right. So does that cover it?
Yeah.
Let's get the hell out of here. So we are the 3M's contributors, Joey Moser, Megan McLaughlin, and me, the senior citizen, Clarence Moore. Thanking you for joining us. Sorry, you're going to have to put up with a lot of that over the next couple of months. Thanking you for joining us, asking you to remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Although it's odd, considering mentally I have yet to mature.
I was going to say.
Asking you to remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you find us. And wishing you a very pleasant tomorrow.